Everybody, what is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope everyone out there is having a great Friday. Hope you guys are looking forward to a great weekend and a great weekend of NFL action as we head into week 9 of the 2023 season, week 9 of the fantasy season. You guys know what we're here for tonight. Fantasy Q&A, anything that you guys need, start, sits, trades, roster reviews, injury updates, whatever it may be. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk some fantasy football. We've got Pete in the house from After the Review Sports. What's going on, man?
Not much. I've been pretty depressed all week since Kirk Cousins is dead, and all my playoff hopes are over. I've lost 3 in a row in one of my fantasy leagues. I think I'm like tops in scoring in the catch league, and I'm like at 500. So yeah, it's not going great, John. It's not going great.
I forgot that we hadn't streamed since the Kirk Cousins injury. I guess that makes sense. So I'm bummed about that too, man. Kirk's my guy.
I do like that all the Kirk Cousins haters are like now like, oh man, we don't have Kirk Cousins because it looked
Right.
like the Vikings were about to make that run back at 4-4, winners of 3 in a row, and Taylor Heineke this week. But alas, so is
So,
life.
how do you feel about the matchup this weekend? Like, do you have any confidence in the Vikings on the road and their offense? Because I've kind of been at a point, like from a fantasy perspective, like maybe outside of Hawkinson, I'm like, I think you have to bench everyone, but interested to get your actual like insider thoughts.
Well, I think one of the running backs is probably going to do well. I would lean Cam Akers with young quarterbacks, checkdowns. Obviously, Hawk is going to see a lot of targets probably. I wouldn't quite sleep on Addison because he runs those intermediate routes and he's still a pain to like nobody's covering him anyway without anybody out there. But KJ Osborne, no shot anymore. Powell, unless he's getting these end arounds, which he's been getting the last few weeks. But yeah, it's tough. I don't know. Jaron Hall didn't show me a whole lot in the preseason, but I think this is a bad week for the Vikings too. Atlanta was awful against Tennessee, and Taylor Heineke does Taylor Heineke things. He's gonna have like 2 or 3 plays where he should have been sacked, the ball should have been picked, the referee's gonna tackle our safety, and it's gonna go for a touchdown against us. So it's gonna be one of those weeks, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it's a weird game to call because the Falcons just got torched by Will Levis. But I don't know. It's just a lot of weird matchups this week, but we'll see how things shape out. So, all right, let's take a look at the news for the week, and then we'll hop right into your guys' fantasy questions. So, let's see what we got here. Kyler Murray listed as questionable making the trip to Cleveland with the Cardinals. My opinion is we're probably not going to see Kyler Murray play. It's kind of fun to think about. But I don't think he's going to be out there personally. Pete, I don't think you think that
No,
either.
he rolled with the twos today. So unless they're tricking everybody, which Arizona could do that, but he practiced with the twos today. So I'm thinking he's out this week and be back next week.
Sure. On the other side, Deshaun Watson will be playing for the Browns. Kind of a surprise here. I'm not ultimately crazy excited about that, but I do think it's good for like Amari Cooper and Njoku, but they were looking fine, at least last week with PJ Walker. But if you own Deshaun Watson and you've been waiting on him, he will be back. Amari DeMarcado for the Cardinals is out with a toe injury. So if you're like in a super, super desperate, absolutely no one available to start, Keontae Ingram should be getting the lead touches for the Cardinals this weekend. Josh Downs has a knee injury listed as questionable for Sunday against the Panthers. Matthew Stafford's availability still up in the air. Curtis Samuel for the Commanders listed as out. Drake London listed as out. Chuba Hubbard is going to be the starter for the Panthers. That should be exciting. Damian Pierce is out for the Texans. So we kind of talked about this last night, but Devin Singletary, another guy due to volume that you might be able to scoop up and start, but not really a good matchup there. And outside of that, that's all we got. So get in the live chat, guys. Let us know what you guys need. And let's talk some fantasy football. Let's get into it. All right. Thoughts on Kyron the rest of the season, and would you trade Josh Allen for Lamar and Pacheco? Okay. I'm a big fan of Kyron. I mean, he was like extremely efficient, which like for me, that's what I look for in fantasy is I don't always go for ceilings, upside, maybe a bad thing, but I generally like to find consistency and efficiency. And I mean, he had 2 weeks this year that weren't so great, but everything else, I mean, 17 or more fantasy points in 4 out of 6 matchups. So he's still the RB7 in full PPR. And he hasn't played since week 6. So yeah. I think Chiron will be just fine. It's kind of an up and down schedule, but the volume will be there, especially with Matthew Stafford's health up in the air. But maybe that's a factor here. Like if Stafford is hurt,
Well,
maybe
we saw Akers kind of come on last year when they had nobody at quarterback, and
sure.
yeah, if Stafford is out, is down, camera over here, blurring on us. But yeah, so I like Chiron for the rest of the season. Like McVay will just run the ball. Like the Rams aren't good, I guess, but we'll just run the ball.
I feel like a Sean McVay offense has always utilized the running back. So I am all in on Chiron once he's back. I think he'll be just fine. Would I trade Josh Allen for Lamar and Pacheco was close. It really depends on how much you need Pacheco, how much you need the additional running back, because Josh Allen is still the QB1 in fantasy, still on that streak of being a top 2 quarterback in fantasy since 2020. See how the season wraps up. But I mean, Lamar's been fine. He's a QB4, so you're not getting like a crazy downgrade, but I do feel like Lamar Jackson's floors in fantasy are way lower than Josh Allen. So the ceiling's relatively similar there, but it's really close. I mean, I think you can trust Lamar on a week-to-week basis, but he's a guy who's going to give you, look at the last 3 weeks, 18 points, 33 points, 11 points. Like
Now, Lamar's got Miami in the championship game, though. That's pretty
that's
tasty to look at right there. Let's see. I
that is.
have to look who Josh Allen has. But
He's
yeah,
got
Lamar
New
doesn't
England.
have a tough schedule. Yeah, Josh Allen's got the Patriots, so
Yeah.
both pretty soft championship game matchups.
Baltimore, Miami, week 17. I do like that. Yeah, for me, I mean, like if you want to do the trade, I don't hate it. But I do prefer Josh Allen over Lamar. It just depends how much do you need Pacheco. Albert was good, my guy. Hello. Good evening, Doge. Skylar, who are you starting? Aaron Jones or Gus the Bus? Full PPR. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can trust Aaron Jones right now. I just don't know if I can do it with the Packers offense, but I do feel like this could be one of those games where they come out of nowhere and they play really well against the Rams, but this Rams defense hasn't been that bad. They've actually been pretty dang good. On the other hand, the Seahawks Ravens matchup is really weird to me because both of these defenses played really well through the month of October. I feel like there's no in between in that game. I feel like the defense has been completely and we get points, or this is a much lower scoring game than a lot of people are kind of anticipating. So I'm kind of torn, but I probably go Gus the Bus between the two. But
I think that's probably a safer play. I think Gus is probably a safer play. He's going to get the touches. Yes, yeah, like Seattle, Baltimore. I think that's going to be an ugly game this weekend. I'm thinking it's a 13-16 game.
I do too. I think it's gonna be really disappointing from like a fantasy perspective. But could be wrong. Like I said, I don't think there's an in between.
Bad fantasy game, good football game.
Sure. Aaron Jones, I mean, outside of week 1 has 8.7 or less fantasy points, or he has not played in every game. So it's just tough.
Bad against Minnesota.
The Rams have been good.
Washed. He just kind of looks washed.
I mean, based on his ADP, he may be one of the worst draft picks this season so far. Listen, Jones can pop off at any time. Like we know that, but he's kind of in one of these situations that until we see it, you go with the other option. I think Gus is safer, but he's not going to have 3 touchdowns against the Seattle defense like he did last week against Cardinals defense. So I will go Gus and cross your fingers. Tommy, thoughts on Matt LaFleur saying Aaron Jones is ready to be unleashed?
Sure he is. LaFleur.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like really feed into things like this. It could be, I don't know, could be a factor here, I guess. But I think we've heard like the last 2 or 3 weeks from Aaron Jones himself that he's like ready to have a massive week. He feels better than he's ever felt, or since week 1 at least, and then nothing's happened. So I mean, what is the head coach supposed to say? Like, no, like he's gonna stay on the bench and not be utilized, and he's not healthy, like I don't know. It doesn't mean much to me. But listen, if you own Aaron Jones, I hope he goes off. If you have to start him, I hope he goes off. I just don't feel good about the situation right now. I mean, the Rams coming in, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, wait. This is all jacked up for me.
They're like decent.
Yeah, I mean, decent. Rams are top 15 against running backs. Top 7 against wide receivers. And they've been pretty bad against quarterbacks and tight ends, for what it's worth. But yeah, I don't know. I do feel like this Rams-Packers game is kind of tough to call as well, though. I mean, right now we don't know what Matthew Stafford's playing, but I do personally feel like at some point the Packers are going to kind of get back to what we saw at the beginning of the season.
I don't.
Really?
I think Matt LaFleur is a bad coach. Jordan Love is terrible. He is bad. Like he missed quite a few wide open receivers against Minnesota on Sunday. They have no run scheme. This is just a bad football team, I think, and they're gonna get a new head coach and a new quarterback. So why not pack it up? They don't feel good
on the hot seat. Yeah, I don't know. They look so good those first 3 weeks. Makes me sad.
They played the Bears and like nobody else.
What's up, ER? Good to see you, bro. All right, Mark, what's going on, man? Need a flex bad. Was going to start Charbs, but Singletary, Robinson, Keontae Ingram are on waivers, which is the best one to pick up. I mean, Randall Robinson's kind of intriguing. We got Daniel Jones back. The Raiders haven't been very good against wide receivers. You could go with him, but once again, like Tyrod Taylor seemed to have better chemistry with Robinson than Danny Dimes did. Do we trust the Giants? I don't know if we do.
I trust Saquon. That's about it.
Got the ball 36 times last week. I think Devin Singletary is the safest play, but it's not a great matchup. But I think you go for the safest play here, and you go Singletary. But Robinson, if you want a little bit of upside, I'm not going to trust Keontae Ingram. Like, you had to be just like, there's nobody available. You had Najee Harris and Derrick Henry, and you benched both of them by accident, and there's no one in your league to pick up, like, type of situation, Derek Carr or Justin Herbert this week. You got to go. I mean, I know it's a bad matchup for Herbert, but you have to go Herbie, I think. Right?
Yeah, you have to play Herbert. Yeah. It's like you feel like a fool if you play and Carr gets you 15 and Herbert gets you 20. It's like it's 5-point difference, but you feel so much worse by not starting the clearly better quarterback.
I do feel like Carr is a good streaming option. Especially in 6-point passing touchdown leagues. He's actually been pretty good the last 3 weeks, like 18 or more fantasy points the last 3 weeks. And it's the Bears. So, but once again, even that game script could turn into a game script where Alvin Kamara is getting the ball a lot, or Jamal Williams, I guess. But I think Carr is fine. But I just think if you own Herbert, even against the Jets, you got to roll with him. He's been great all year. So, Rashee Rice or Zay Flowers? I'm going to go Rashee Rice. Flowers has had a couple good matchups, hasn't done a lot with it, been pretty disappointing. Rashee Rice, not really a high ceiling guy, but I like this matchup between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Fantasy-wise, we should be treated, so I go Rashee Rice. I just wish that game wasn't so early in the day.
Gotta love it. Gotta love German kickoffs, not even London kickoffs.
Madison or Brian Robinson? We got a Viking.
No, never Madison. Never, ever Madison.
Ever. I'm going Brian Robinson. I like Robinson a lot this week. This Patriots defense has not been good against a run this year. They're bottom 10. Robinson, well, he's been a little shaky lately. He is a top 12 running back in full PPR. I actually think he might be a little bit higher. He might actually be top 10. He's an RB10. So it's just crazy how this year's been. But I go Brian Robinson for sure. Not even close for me. Like Pete said, never Madison. Doge was already hurting this week. Had to start Demicarta this week, but he's out. So Royce Freeman or Keontae Ingram. I'll go Royce Freeman. I mean, he's getting just as many touches as Darrell Henderson. And the Packers have been really soft against opposing running backs. So, yeah. I think if you guys are in a really bad situation at running back and Royce Freeman is out there, he's worth picking up and starting. I'm not expecting a crazy game or anything, but I think he gets you a good enough floor. And Devin Singletary's the other guy who's like, he's going to be the lead back. It's a bad matchup, but at least theoretically he has the volume, right? So, all right, Skyward, what's up? Half PPR, one flex. Got Hurts, Bijan, Swift, AJ Brown, Puka, Hawk, Moore. Chiron's on IR. Y'all think there's a world where I'm selling 2 for 1 like Swift plus one of those guys for Chase or Bijan plus 1 for a top 5 player? I mean, you could, but your roster is pretty ridiculously stacked as is. I don't know that you necessarily need to. I mean, if you can get like Christian McCaffrey, like that's one thing, but I just don't know if you're gonna be able to do that. You cannot sell AJ Brown. There's a tier of players right now, and it's like C-Mac, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, those guys you just cannot move on from. And if you're trading for them, you're going to give up like really, really high value. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, you can always sell anyone on your team if you get the right value, right now you're kind of selling Bijan at a low value, right? So I wouldn't probably do it. Swift's been really consistent, but I don't know that you quite need to. I mean, what's your record, man? Let us know and we'll kind of go from there. But I think you're in a good spot. If you have a good record, I wouldn't really move on from this team. Chase, what's up, dude? McBride or Thomas? What are your thoughts on Trey McBride right now, Pete?
I don't know, but like I hate Slant Boy, so
well, I think it's Logan Thomas.
Oh, Logan Thomas. Okay,
yeah,
I was thinking I had Michael Thomas on the brain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I'm a little torn on Trey McBride because like he got all this volume, had a couple good games, had the huge game last week. But that was with Josh Dobbs at quarterback, and I just don't know.
Is it Tune this week?
Clayton Tune, and like, yeah,
and it's a bad matchup on top of it.
Like, yeah, quarterbacks just have different tendencies, So I mean, it's like we could see repeat performances, or we could see like everything completely flop. And
it is a quarterback's best friend, especially a young quarterback. I don't know. How's Cleveland rank against tight ends, though? I don't know what. They're pretty good against everything, it feels like, but I would imagine they're top.
Second best team in the league against quarterbacks.
Yeah. And then who's Washington have?
So it's tough.
Yeah.
But I probably still start Trey McBride.
Okay.
I'm just
it's such a terrible matchup with a bad quarterback, I feel like.
That's the risk. And then Logan Thomas, Patriots are 13th against position. Obviously, this offense is just going to put it all out there every week. I mean, they're playing for nothing except
pride. Paychecks, bonuses. We're playing for bonuses, man. That's how you rack up fantasy points.
Yeah. I think they're just going to try and develop Sam Howell as much as they can, and that's it this year, I mean, listen, you can go either way here. I think McBride still has more upside. Thomas is probably safer, though. But, yeah, I just – after the week McBride had last week, I just don't know if we're going to see it again with Clayton Tune. And if we do, then that's good. But then we get Kyler next week. But Kyler has shown in the past that he likes to utilize tight end position, so I'm not worried there. But do you guys get what I'm saying, though, with Trey McBride? It's like different quarterbacks.
I'm going to look at Tune's tight end targets in the preseason and see if he has a tight end tendency.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he could sling it in college, but this Browns defense has been phenomenal. I mean, so we'll see. All right, PPR flex, Aaron Jones, Cook, or Rice. Have Rice, but now Aaron Jones supposed to be a full go. I'm still going Rashee Rice personally. I mean, if you guys feel good about Aaron Jones, you can throw him out there, I guess. But the Rams, we're having too much Browns talk there. I mean, the Rams are top 15 against the position, so nothing crazy, but not awful. I don't know. For me, with Aaron Jones, like I want to see it happen before I'm throwing him back in my starting lineup. So Cook's always fine. He gets the Bengals. It's like that game's going to have points, but I like Rashee Rice. He's a guy that I'm starting this week. All right, got Laporte on bye, so some tight end trouble. Would you all start McBride, Ferguson, Taysom? All good options. These are like, I had to pick 3 guys that you could have picked up off the waiver wire to stream this week. Probably, hopefully, would have been these 3 guys. How do you feel about Taysom Hill? I'm interested.
He's a gimmick, and he's always a gimmick. Like, it's a 2-point week or a 30-point week with him. Like, I think they're trying to get away from his gimmick nonsense. I think they're actually trying to run an offense. Feels like they've been using him a lot less, at least from what I've seen the last few weeks. And the offense has looked a lot better with Kamara in and not them trying to do this gimmicky crap. I like Ferguson. I know it's not, can't imagine it's a great matchup, but it feels like he's coming on and they're throwing him the football, and they throw him the football in the red zone. And that's what you need.
I like all these guys. I do think that the matchups for Ferguson and Taysom are far more intriguing. I think that the Cowboys-Eagles game, I think the defenses are going to bend here. I think there's going to be points.
This feels like a game that's going to be in the 30s, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Last year it was. But I think Taysom Hill will have a good week against the Bears. The only thing with him is he's got he popped up on the injury report. Looks like he's off. He's good to go. Full participant today. So, but I talked about it last night. Like with Taysom Hill, just you always expect disappointment. Like Pete said, you might get 2 points, you might get 30. So I think Ferguson's a good floor play. I think McBride is still fine. Taysom Hill gives you the most upside, but if he gets you 2 points, you can't be mad, So
it's going to be a Derek Carr week. I'm feeling it. It's going to be a Derek Carr week, especially since I'm starting him. So Taysom Hill's not taking any snaps.
You have to manifest it. All right. I think all these guys are fine, but maybe we go Ferguson here. The Eagles are 19th against the position, so they're not like
even worse than I thought. So
they're not like fantastic necessarily. All right, Tommy, need 1 wide receiver and 2 flexes. We got Watson, Dell, Douglas, Jones, Hendo. Tough here. I mean, I know you, Tommy. I know you feel good about Douglas. If you want to throw him out there against Washington's secondary, I don't necessarily hate it.
There's going to be no pass rush. He's going to have time to throw the football. No pass rush in Washington anymore.
Yeah. Gosh, would you start Christian Watson here? I just don't feel like the other options.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to start a Packer, it would be Watson. He seems to be like, he gets forced the ball, at least kind of, or, he should. He was open, it felt like, last weekend. But, yeah, I don't love, Dell against Tampa. I don't love that matchup at all, especially with 10 days off. We've massacred Aaron Jones tonight, so don't ever play him.
We're out on Aaron Jones. Don't ask us Aaron Jones questions.
Yeah,
I kind of like Hendo, though. It's a good matchup.
Yeah, and I think Douglas is like a really ballsy play that kind of like will win you the week, or it's going to really, really hurt you bad. Yeah. So Douglas really does kind of intrigue me, though, this week.
If it wasn't Washington, I would not be in on the play, but Washington's secondary is so bad.
And the best part of their team just got shipped out of town on top of it.
And it's a home game for the Pats. So like if it was an away game, maybe I feel differently. But I think go Douglas, Christian Watson. You have a good amount of upside there, and you kind of ground things out with Henderson. If you feel good about Aaron Jones over Hendo, I think that's okay. But I personally like Henderson against the Packers, and I think you have to go Watson. And I like Douglas because I know you like Douglas, Tommy. So I say have some confidence, throw him out there against Washington's secondary. All right, got Laporte on bye and McBride. I think he's a smart starter, currently in second, 5-2, can pick up Ferguson, Schultz, Conklin, Henry, Musgrave, Everett. I mean, I think you can go with McBride. I think he's fine, but if you want to go Ferguson, that's okay too. Having some trust issues with Schultz, I still like him, but I think Ferguson and McBride are better options. Kincaid or Hawkinson? Kincaid. Ooh, actually, what do you think, Pete? Because that is pretty close.
Yeah, I think Hawk's still going to get a ton of targets. Yeah. He's been really good the last few weeks catching the football too, contested balls. And I mean, Hawk's been really good the last 3 weeks, but that was a different quarterback. Obviously, we don't know. Like, there could be a situation where we can't throw the football on Sunday and it's a disaster. But if it's a PPR, I really like Hawkinson because maybe he only gets like 50 yards, but he has like 7 or 8 catches. It could be one of those games because Atlanta's defense is still pretty good and they're going to be all over him. But I don't hate Kincaid like that. That's another game that feels kind of weird. We're at the point of the season where there's like a lot of awful matchups and a lot of really good matchups. And yeah, I don't know. Buffalo, Cincinnati, that game could get weird. I don't know. We know what happened the last time these two teams stepped on a field on a Monday night game, and what happened when they played in the playoffs. There's a lot of shit talking this week between the two squads. So I don't hate Kincaid here at all.
I that's another game like Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills, Bengals. I'm like start them. If you have pieces of those offenses, I like them. That's why I immediately said Kincaid. But we can't like just brush off Hawkinson.
It's a good week to buy, like to hold on Hawkinson and see what we could get.
Yeah.
And if Dobbs comes back, if Dobbs takes the job, he's gonna go right to his tight end.
I think Hawkinson for a floor, Kincaid for upside. We appreciate you, Wendy Cush. Flex Pittman or Higgins. Pittman's the floor play. Higgins is the upside play. Once again, if you like this game script for the Bills, Bengals, throw Higgins out there. I personally really like Higgins this week. And I think Pittman is fine to start every single week. But the Panthers, the one thing they've been good at this year is playing against wide receivers. But Pittman has been like kind of just due to the volume he gets and targets, he's been fine. So upside lies with Higgins, though, for sure. All right, 2-6, 10 PPR. Would you trade Hall and Wilson for Waddle and Pollard? Running backs are Jacobs, JT, Hall, excuse me. Wide receivers are Chase, Wilson, T, Olave, Godwin, Jason, and Dell.
Yes, you're 2-6. Just change. You have to change it up at this point. I feel like
it's interesting. I think it's close here. And taking a look at the Jets' upcoming schedule, it's very up and down, but they do have some good matchups. So, but in nature, it feels like a good trade. But also, once again, like I don't know how much this trade really like changes your team. Because Waddle's still kind of been like iffy. Garrett Wilson's looked pretty good, but he hasn't had a high ceiling because Zach Wilson's his quarterback. And then Hall's looked great lately, and Pollard has been fine this year. I think a lot of people are overreacting on Pollard, but he hasn't been fantastic the last like weekish. He's just kind of up and down. But he's still
he's the only guy that they scored 40 last week. He's the only guy that didn't score, feels like.
Yeah. He still had 4.42 yards per carry, and he just didn't really need to score, They were just slinging it. Just the game script didn't help him. So, I don't know. It's close here. But, I think I agree with Pete. Like, just switch it up. Why not? But I would rather trade, like, Jacobs because I think he has less upside than Hall. Although maybe the Raiders offense now like completely opens up and looks different. I think it's okay to trade Wilson, but once again, like Wilson versus Waddle doesn't feel that different to me. I don't know if it's going to set your team over the top or anything. You have a pretty good roster for being 2-6 too. So I don't know if I answered anything or if that helped, but those are my opinions. Skyward says he's 6-2. Yeah, I don't think I'd move on from your team, man. Your team looks great. I think I'd just hold as is. You have a winning record, so McBride or Mayer, I'd rather start McBride personally. Michael Thomas slander not tolerated. Top 5 wide receivers 2010s.
Yeah,
he was.
Ask him if the road's closed.
Still can't believe that season where he broke Marvin Harrison's record.
And then did nothing in the playoff game.
Yeah. I do remember that too. Chuba or Stevenson this week. Yeah, Chuba announced starter. I love Chuba this week. If you own Chuba, he's a great play. The Colts have been awful against the run. On the other side, the Panthers have been awful against the run. This is a game where Chuba, JT, and Zach Moss could all score a touchdown or two each. Anyways, Chuba is way more upside than Stevenson this week, but Stevenson is still okay. So I don't know. I feel like I'm going Chuba though.
Miles Sanders is going to get a touchdown now because Chuba's the starter.
Right.
Yeah,
like once they get in the goal, it'll probably be Miles Sanders has like 3 touchdowns, but I would start Chuba personally.
It only took Carolina like 6 weeks. I think when they played Minnesota, I said, yeah, Chuba should be the starter on this team. Yeah. He looks so much better.
He has looked better all year. I mean, listen, I like Miles Sanders, I guess.
Yeah. No.
But, when you're on the Eagles offense, like, you're going to look pretty efficient at the running back position. So. All right, 5-3. Am I crazy for starting Rice over DJ Moore? No, you're not. I mean, DJ Moore has Tyson Bagent, quarterback.
And they're playing a good secondary. New Orleans got a good secondary still.
But it's half point PPR. Rice has a better chance of scoring, which is much more important than half PPR. But you got Geno, Tyreek, Chase, JT, Hall, Rice. Yeah, I mean, and like you have so many good starters that you're fine there. But DJ Moore, Singletary, McBride, Lenny, no, you're good. Keep your roster as is. You're good. All right, should I trade Pollard for Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones? I mean, no. Adams and maybe a different running back, probably, maybe so. You could consider it, but not for Aaron Jones right now. No. CMC, Nico, or Tyreek Ramondre trade. What? CMC, Nico. Okay. Now I get it. CMC and Nico or Tyreek and Ramondre. I was like, you're getting CMC, Nico, and Tyreek or Ramondre for who? Okay. This is super close, but the way you have to look at it is one side is getting the elite running back, one side is getting the elite wide receiver. Which side of that do you want to be on? CMC, Tyreek, basically untouchable. AJ Brown, maybe Amon-Ra, St. Brown, way he's playing. It's a fair trade, I guess, because you're swapping CMC and Tyreek. But if it's full PPR, I mean, you can go back. You could, I don't know.
I kind of lean CMC just because of the full, because you're getting those extra receptions on top of it, where Tyreek ain't doing that. But like, you're not gonna go wrong here. The Niners are gonna fix it. CMC still scores a touchdown or 2 every week, even when they've lost every game. So,
I mean, you're literally swapping the RB1 and the wide receiver 1.
Fair trade.
Would you rather have Nico or Ramondre? I guess Nico.
But is the difference between Nico and Ramondre, like, it feels negligible.
Yeah. I guess what it really boils down to is, do you need that tremendous amount of upside on a week-to-week basis at running back or wide receiver? That's what it's really going to boil down to. So it kind of depends on your roster, but it's close. Very difficult to dispute, would you rather have the RB1 or the wide receiver 1 on your roster? So it is a tough choice, but I really feel like Nico / Ramondre, they're just kind of replacing the depth of the wide receiver running back that you are losing. So this is one you go back and forth on for a long time. All right, QBs are Dak, Kyler, running backs are Kyron, Brees, JT, Javonte Stevenson, wide receivers are CD Cup, Hollywood. Traded Kyron, Kyler, Marquise for Amon-Ra. I think we went over this one last night. How'd I do? Also, who'd you trade Cup for? I mean, you got Amon-Ra. You gave up a lot. But like I said, Amon-Ra is very close to that tier of guys that are just like untouchable right now in fantasy. He's not even like top 5 or anything just because he's missed a little bit of time, but the way he's playing, I hate to see you lose Kyron, but you should be fine with Brees and JT. Who would I trade Cup for? It's just not a good time to sell Cup. You're going to get him for scraps. So it just depends on what you are actually able to get. But after losing Hollywood, I don't know. You got Amon-Ra. I just hold Cup. I don't want to sell him right now.
Yeah, nobody's coming off a quarter. Like, quarterback's the spot you'd upgrade at here, and nobody's coming off a quarterback at this point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, if Stafford is truly out for a significant amount of time, then like you're not gonna be able to sell Cup for what he's worth. So, I mean, you have pretty good running backs, pretty good wide receivers. I mean, you can get the right offer, maybe you can swap them. But if Cup is back to what we were seeing him do a week or two ago, or I guess 2 weeks ago, and you have that with CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra, you're in a really good spot. So it's just not worth it to sell him. All right, when I make any moves, we got Hal, Kyler, Kyron, Monty, Brees, Algier, Royce, kind of weak running back. At least you've had bad luck. You're 6-2. Adams, Cup, Higgins, Puka, Downs, Andrews. I mean, you can still upgrade at running back or wide receiver. How you're going to do so is the question. You got to look at rosters across your league and who you can realistically trade here. That's going to benefit another team and actually help you get another guy here. But you have Kyron and Monty coming back soon, so you're just starting like Brees and Royce Freeman, then so be it. But yeah, you could still use an upgrade at running back or wide receiver.
There's just no depth at quarterback either. Like,
yeah, at that point, you're just starting Sam Howell and
and maybe Kyler Murray gets better. It's like,
I mean, Howell is like QB 6 or something right now.
Kind of crazy.
QB 8, a little bit off. I mean, that was after last week's 31-point performance.
Yeah.
So. But still, I mean, outside of that week 3 performance where Buffalo just derailed him and then him playing very poorly against the Giants in week 7, he's been really, really good.
That's true. He got blown out by Chicago and still had put up 400 yards.
Yeah, he had 26 points that game. So he's at New England, at Seattle. I mean, he's a guy that I think you can start on a week-to-week basis. And then Kyler provides that upside. So, like, at that point, I'm not trying to trade any assets to upgrade. It's like QB is like kind of always a mess if you don't have like whoever ends up being in the top 5. So just ride with it. I mean, your 6-2 is a good news here. So another random thing, do the Patriots have the easiest remaining schedule for wide receivers? I do not know. Probably something I need to start looking into as we get closer to the end of the year, start to look at that a little bit more closely, at least, because things just change so rapidly at the beginning of the season.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Colts, Giants, Chargers, Steelers, Chiefs, Broncos, Bills, and then the Jets season's over. So, like, yeah, Jets. It's not good. They play the Jets last week, so it's not even a worry. They're like, yeah. I mean, that's pretty awful secondaries, especially the next 3 weeks. It feels like.
Yeah, those are all good
next
matchups.
4. Yeah, next 4 weeks, really.
Jets, Bills, Chiefs are the toughest ones, but Bills have been kind of falling off as well because they've had some injuries. But yeah, I mean, that sounds good.
Colts, Chargers, Steelers, 3 of the next 4 weeks. I'm loving that.
Yeah. You got to throw Pop out there this week, Tommy. All right. Start 1, full PPR. DJ Moore, Cooper, Flowers, Addison. Cooper. I mean, it's a great matchup. And he's got Watson back. And even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe we'll get Watson for one play again, and then PJ Walker will come in. So
as soon as he gets hit, and like, I don't need to play football anymore.
I mean,
I
he
have
doesn't.
$250 million.
He doesn't. I don't. From that perspective, I don't blame him. Like, yeah, I'd say my shoulders hurt too. But yeah, in all seriousness, Amari Cooper, best matchup, and he's been great. You know, I mean, Addison, it would just be Addison, but
way too big of a question mark. It's way too big.
Cole popping in to bring some good vibes. Thank you. Ended my ban on fantasy. Oh, good. I'm glad you're back. I forgot that happened. Start Hunt or Aaron Jones, and I see you at the bottom of the chat. Chuba, Hunt, or Aaron Jones. It's actually kind of tough because I really like Kareem Hunt this week. I also really like Chuba Hubbard, but I guess I go Hunt. It's close. It's not Aaron Jones. We don't like Aaron Jones. It's super. I go Hunt. I'm going to go Hunt. I'm going to stick with it. The Cardinals have been really so awful against running backs, and they've been bad against the style running back that Kareem Hunt is. So, I mean, like Gus Edwards had 3 touchdowns last week. I'm going to stick with Hunt, but I do like Chuba a lot. Santos, good to see you, bro. What's up? Some players were dropped this week. Should I drop JSN for Jones, Watson, Charbs? I'd honestly just hold JSN. If you want to risk it for the biscuit, you have good depth, you can pick up Watson. Maybe something happens and I don't know. But the Packers suck. So JSN, Watson are the guys worth starting here or holding here. Zay Jones, I mean, I guess could be interesting too. JT, Brees, and Cup, slow start, limited 2-6, aiming for comeback of the year. I mean, if you guys are 2-6, you can certainly still make the playoffs. I've done it before. But after this week, if you lose, you're going to be in a. That's when you start to like you're looking at other teams and if they're going to lose and like all this stuff. But set the best lineup you can on a week-to-week basis. You never know what can happen.
Ruin somebody else's year.
Exactly. Hold Fournette or drop him to pick up Ingram. Neither one making the lineup, just stash plays. I'd rather stash Fournette. Tied to a better offense. Don't get me wrong, Connor has been efficient, as a starter, but yeah, I'd rather just hold Fournette if you're just truly stashing him. Maybe
he at least looks in shape too. Jesus, you see that photo of him? Oh my goodness.
I mean, like he's been productive. He was productive last year. He was very productive the year before. So I think he's a better quote unquote stash, and he's tied to the Bills. So they're going to be in far more competitive game scripts towards the end of the year than the Cardinals will be. We're kind of getting close to that point of the year where I tell you guys, like, we're going to start seeing some matchups, and you guys might not like the matchup this week. They need to look at the fact, like, oh, it's like the Bills or it's the Bengals or it's the Ravens or whoever, and these are teams fighting for playoff seeding or whatever, and like matchups are going to start to go out the window to a degree. Chris, what's up? Robinson, Elijah Moore, or Cooks? I actually really like Brandon Cooks this week. He scored in the last 2 games, and this Eagles secondary is actually, I think they are the worst in the league against wide receivers. Yes. I really like Brandon Cooks this week. I think he's a super sneaky play. So that is my answer. I'm starting Flowers, Pittman, and Cook, benching Hunt. Oh, I like Hunt. But all these guys are fine to start. If you want to go with them, that's fine. But I think you can start Hunt. It's a great matchup for him. I really, really like him this week. But Flowers, Pittman, Cook, like I think all those guys can always have great weeks. So Orac, what's up? Full PPR need a running back and a flex. Jones, Walker, White, Hunt, Allen. You have to start Kenneth Walker, and you have to start Keenan Allen. You just can't. I get it. The Jets, one of the best units against the position. If they might actually still rank as number 1 on the season. Yes, they do, but I don't care. I'm still starting. I don't care if it's Sauce. You just. I always say this too. Like, good wide receivers still play good against good cornerbacks. Like it still happens. So I think you just have to go with Kenneth and Keenan Allen. They've been far too productive this year to bench them.
I at least think like primetime game at
Yeah.
Chargers might get an early lead. Like Chargers could start hot and then charger it up. So Keenan Allen going to get you some points in the first half, may go really downhill in the second half. But that's like Chargers do like to start fast and then blow it up in the second half.
I do think that's an interesting game because the Chargers are on the road and the Jets have seemed to have a couple of these games this year when they're at home, like they show up, but then they also start to bend a little bit. So you just got to start those guys. I mean, there are other good players here, but you got to start those guys. It's a tough one, Randall. CMC or Tyreek debate. Start Jets defense and go pick up a team off the waivers: Raiders, Texans, Giants, Rams, Packers, Chargers. And the must start defense video I did this week in terms of streaming options, I talked about the Raiders, Giants, and the Packers. If Stafford doesn't play, I like the Packers this week.
Yeah.
But I also throughout the week have talked about the Jets because we just alluded to they're playing a good offense in the Chargers, but I still think you can start the Jets, but I just think it's a floor play. It's I just don't feel great about it. I like the Giants. They've had double-digit points the last 2 weeks in fantasy, playing Aiden O'Connell. But then on the flip side, I don't mind the Raiders getting Daniel Jones back in his first start. And the Giants have been the best team to stream defenses against this year. So pick your poison. Raiders, Giants are the best streaming options, in my opinion. Would you trade Puka and Brees or Monty for CMC? Yeah, 100%. It doesn't matter. If you can get this trade to go through either way, yes. But I don't know that you're going to be able to do that. But if you can, do it. And then, yeah, I mean, whoever you have left here, whether it's Brees or Monty, is your RB2 behind CMC is great. As long as Monty is coming back healthy. So is Sam Howell startable? He's so inconsistent. Yes, he is startable for sure. Kind of touched on that. Yeah, I mean, he's got New England, Seattle, Giants, Dallas, Miami. Like, I don't love him against Seattle. He's probably fine, though, in that matchup. They haven't been great against quarterbacks. I don't love him against Dallas. I don't love him against, like, to end the year, he gets the Rams. Like, he's at the Rams, at the Jets. Then they host San Francisco. Chase Young is probably going to have, like, 7 sacks. Revenge game. Like, those 3 games look awful. But leading up to that, I think he's fine. New England, Seattle, Giants. Dallas is not great. And Miami. But Sam Howell is definitely startable. He's QB8. So. All right, let's see. What's up, Kat? How do you feel about Tank rest of season? I'm a little torn, because the Texans kind of slowed down that pace of how much they were throwing the football beginning of the season. Chemistry looked great between Sam Howell, between CJ Stroud and Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell, in my opinion, is kind of a boomer bust flex option. But I think he's definitely worth holding on to. But I don't know, like in most of the leagues that I own Tank Dell, like I'm not starting him, That's kind of the problem. He has that role on your bench of like he's there, but you're not going to start him unless you're desperate.
And his matchups aren't good the rest of the season. At Cincy, Arizona in 2 weeks, but then the Jags, Broncos, Jets, at the Titans, Browns, Titans again.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. We're also getting to that point of the year where I tell you guys, like, you're going to have some players on your bench that if you're looking at them on a week-to-week basis and you're not starting them, and it's been like 6, 7, 8 weeks now, and like you're still like, for me, like one example is Christian Watson. Like I have Watson in the league, and I have not started him once this year. And it's like, why am I rostering Christian Watson? and it's because of the unknown upside, right? But you're going to start to look at certain players. I think Tank Dell is a good example. Like, maybe I just need to move on, because like I need to start. There's going to be more important things as these matchups come up that are really important for you to make it into the playoffs or secure a playoff spot. And it might come down to the wire there. So, all right, let's see. How had a great matchup versus the Giants and laid an egg. Yeah, that is true. Giants.
We're bad on defense, but now not. Kind of weird.
They have been a little bit better. They played much better in October. I mean, they're 18th against the quarterback positions. They're not great. They're not awful though. But they're still not good. But yeah, I mean, the Giants defenses look better this past month for sure. But yeah, I mean, Sam Howell's had some inconsistency, but overall, like I talked about earlier on the season, if you take away that matchup against the Bills and the matchup against the Giants, week 1 he only had 16 fantasy points, but every other matchup he's had 19 or more, or excuse me, 18 or more. So I think for now he's startable. After the bye week, the schedule is really tough though. Who should I start in the PPR flex? DK, Downs, Rice, Shaheed. I feel like I'm spamming Rashee Rice this week. Every time I see his name, I'm like, start him. Here's the biggest issue with the Chiefs Dolphins game is it's gonna really disappoint you guys if the players you start don't do well, because then you're gonna wake up Sunday and see five points when you're expecting like
everybody should be up to watch this game. Okay, yeah. Get up, make breakfast, drink some coffee. I don't care if you're on the West Coast. It's an elite match. Like, these are the two of the best teams in the AFC. Just get up and then be disappointed after while you're awake and watching it.
It's on at a reasonable time for me. Like, I can at least.
Yeah, was it 9:30 East Coast?
Yeah, 9:30.
Yes, that's not too
bad. I'd probably stick with Rashee Rice. I think Metcalf. Like, you can always start Metcalf. I mean, we know that.
Shaheed's interesting against Chicago.
Yeah. I do like Shaheed, but you also know that he's a boomer bust guy, which is fine if you want to go that route. Like I said earlier in the stream, I like this maybe like a lower ceiling guy, but more dependable guy. And for me, that might be Rashee Rice. And I love this matchup between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Like, I mean, the Chiefs defense has been good this year. The Dolphins is not, but I don't know. I also think just with the travel involved and international game, like, defenses usually don't show up. If they do, it's like in the first half. But yeah, Shaheed, a great matchup here. Chicago 21st against the position, so not good. Had a crazy game last week. But you also know what you get out of Shaheed, and that is a boomer bust option. And this could also turn into one of those games where, like, the Saints don't need to, like, stay in the game and keep scoring, where last week, I mean, they won 38-27, but the Colts were kind of knocking on the door. So I don't know, all good options. I mean, Josh Downs interesting. He's on the injury report at the moment, but for me, I go Rashee Rice. But you have upside play, and then DK, like, you know what you get out of DK. But he's been a little banged up.
Everybody just kind of hates DK, I feel like, at this point.
Well, the problem with DK Metcalf, you draft him as a wide receiver too. It's where his ADP always is, and then he just has no ceiling. Like, he's fine. He's very, very consistent. The floor is good. But if he doesn't score, like, you just come out of your matchup with 10, 12 points, and it is what it is, which is okay, I guess. I feel like passing offense could see a bump with Pierce out this week. Devin Singletary, man, he's the same running back. I'm joking, but it's probably true. I mean, I do feel like, I mean, the Bucs are the second best team in the league against running backs, so I won't be surprised if this turns into a pass first game overall. Yeah, I mean, I think you could start Tank Dell this week if you have to, Cats, but he's just moved to like a boomer bust flex for me. What's up, Birdman? Good to see you. Down or Singletary. I mean, if it's full PPR and it's Josh Downs, then Downs, as long as he plays. If not, you can go Singletary, but not a high ceiling there. London, Germany games are favorite part of the week. I hate them.
I think most people do.
Tony Pollard's been a disappointment. I mean, where you drafted him, he has, and I expected really big things out of him. He's the RB20 so far in fantasy, but still breaking it down, full PPR, double digits, 4 out of 7 games. They had their bye week in week 7, so he's been okay, but those single digit games just hurt,
Thank God I drafted him in a stacked running back league I have. That's the league I have Saquon, Mostert, and K9. So I drafted him first or second. Then
that's the thing. Like based on his
so
ADP,
frustrating.
Yeah, so and then it felt like the upside had to be there this year, like for him to take that next step forward. And I don't know, maybe finish out the season in super high fashion. It does, but you just have to think like he was playing more efficiently with Zeke behind him. And everyone hates on Zeke, but Zeke was super efficient last year, even if the average yard per carry was down and everything.
It's like the worst yard per carry in the NFL, wasn't it? It was so bad.
Well, okay, I need to rephrase it. Efficient from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, because he got all the red zone. He got all the red zone touches. He got touchdowns, all those 1-yard touchdown runs.
But even then, like Pollard, between weeks 8 and 16, had 14 or more fantasy points every game except for one, with a ceiling of 36.9 points. So, yeah.
We asked the question, like, can Pollard be that back, like the guy? Yeah. And clearly he can't. He kind of needs his 12 carries and he hits 4 home runs for you.
And like, I mean, I will say in his defense, the game scripts this year haven't really supported Tony Pollard because our other
been awful too in the red zone on top of it.
So there's been factors here and there, but it is interesting because to defend against a player like Zeke is the complete opposite of what you have to do to defend against Pollard, which I think really benefited Pollard. And now it's just like, let's shut down Pollard. But there's still a lot of season left. We'll see. All right, Tommy, be up at 5:30, drinking my coffee, smoking my cigs, 4:20, ready for Tua and Waddle. And I could not do that at 5:30.
My buddy's a Chiefs fan and he's in Seattle, so he's going to be doing the same, I'm sure.
I guess you get a good nap in, right? But then I guess the other games start. So, but that sounds fantastic, Tommy. I got a reply. He wants Cup and Brees for CMC. 6-2 would probably lose me this week, but may pay off later. I would probably do it.
Yeah. You're getting a lot of value out of Cup, who it could go real south real quick here with Cup.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Brees has been great. Cup can get back to Cup at any week, whether Stafford's playing or not. Like, he's still Cooper Cup. But for me, like, if you're getting a CMC, if you're getting a Tyreek Hill, if you're getting an AJ Brown, you're trading 2 players, it will help you. I mean, like, the only thing here that it doesn't help you is if McCaffrey gets hurt, but like, you can't play that hypothetical. I think it's a fine trade for CMC. You're 6-2. If you lose this week, you're probably still top 4 in your league at least. So, yeah. They need to throw Pollard out of the backfield. Poor Pollard. Kincaid or Hawk? We got this one earlier. I think we kind of agreed Hawkinson is the floor and Kincaid gives you the upside. But we don't want to throw Hawkinson out just yet. But if you have both these guys, it is a tough decision. Like, even if Kirk was still healthy, this would be a tough decision.
Oh, it'd be a lock if it was Kirk. Kirk was still healthy.
Well, I guess this week due to matchup, maybe. But Kincaid has looked really good. They're getting him involved.
Finally. Thank you, Buffalo. Using the offensive weapons you have to actually win football games. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah. All it took was Dawson Knox to need surgery. Favorite underrated band or musician? It's been a long time. We used to always get questions in the chat like, What's your favorite pizza? I don't know. Mac Miller is my favorite artist, but I don't think he's underrated anymore.
I would say he's appropriately rated.
That works. I haven't listened to Minus the Bear in a while though. David Monty on my RR spot. Should I hold on to him or trade him because of Gibbs production? Hold on to him. Yeah, just don't go anywhere.
They'll still give him the touchdown. They're gonna give Monty the touchdowns. It's what Dan Campbell likes to have, a gritty running back. He likes that guy.
Yes. Do not trade Monty. I mean, you can always trade anyone at the right value, but Monty will be fine when he's back. And Gibbs will probably be okay as well. Full PPR, who should I start? Pick 2. DJ Moore, Flowers, Puka, Dotson. I actually think Dotson's interesting this week, but this is tough because Puka's on the injury report. We don't know if Stafford's playing. I mean, if Stafford's plays, like I think you can start Puka. I don't want to start DJ Moore this week, and I'm a big DJ Moore fan. It's the first week where I don't feel good about him. I think this could be the week where we really see my guy Tyson Bagent like completely fall off. Like last week was pretty rough. I think this week could be like very, very rough.
God, the quarterback matchups this week are something out of a movie of hell. Yeah. Just remember, everybody, when we complain about those bad roughing the passer penalties we see every week, it's so we don't get the quarterback matchups we're getting this week. It's pretty bad. Like, good. Throw those flags because I don't need to be seeing Jaron Hall or Tommy DeVito or freaking Taylor Heineke or PJ. I don't need to see these people play quarterback. I don't need to see these people play quarterback.
We want to watch Heineke.
No, we don't. Nobody wants to watch Heineke.
Would you rather watch?
Just like him. It's better than Desmond Ritter. Okay, yeah, maybe. That's nobody wants to watch him either.
I guess I go Puka if Stafford plays and Flowers. If not, I'll go Flowers and Dotson.
Definitely Dotson. Yeah,
good matchup. The Patriots defense.
Bad. Their secondary is not. Since they lost Gonzalez, they've been really bad. The secondary.
All right, guys, we're gonna start wrapping up in a couple minutes here. We're over an hour, so if you guys need anything, make sure to get it in the chat, and we'll start wrapping up over the next couple of questions. Thoughts on Singletary? If you're desperate, you need a player to put in your RB2 spot, you can start him, but the matchup is not ideal. Bucks been very good against running backs. Would you trade Bijan or Swift straight up? Depends on who you get, or trade for. Yeah, absolutely. I love both these guys still. I mean, I've been a Swift guy since he got traded to the Eagles. Was like pounding the table all off season, got laughed at a ton, and he's been great. I also admittedly argued that Bijan will be the RB1 this year. Maybe he's like RB10-ish.
He actually might get a real big upgrade with Heineke because I think Heineke checks down to the running backs a lot. And Bijan's skill set as a pass catcher is very, very, very underrated.
They need to throw to him. I mean,
yeah, just get him the ball in space. He'll make guys miss.
The weeks that he was getting, a lot more targets and receptions, they looked better as a team. So that has been outside of week 6 against Washington. I mean, he had 5 targets last week, but didn't do anything with them. So I don't know. They need to get him the ball in space. I agree. But
maybe he's gonna have a bad week this week, though. I heard that.
Yeah,
I was told that.
Hey, the Vikings have been good against running backs. But yeah, I would trade for either of these guys. Sure. I will put that on my list, Randall. I appreciate it. I do like me some music. I'm a music guy. So yeah, we used to have these streams where we just talk about like music and movies and food. It'd be like such a small channel. It'd be like 2 people in here. I'd be like, all right, no.
We got all the fantasy questions out of the way.
But thank you, Randall. I do actually appreciate that. Who should I play in flex? Singletary, Rasheed, Palmer, Dell, Rasheed Rice for sure. Palmer is interesting, but Rasheed Rice. With Laporta on bye, who should I start this week? Ferguson, McBride. I feel like we answered.
We had this exact question.
Yeah, I like all these guys. These are like I said earlier in the stream. Like, if you're going in this week and you need a tight end to pick up, and these guys are available. I like all of them. Ferguson or McBride give you more of a floor. Taysom, there's always that boom or bust, aspect to it. Pete likes Ferguson, so I'm going to go Ferguson. We're Ferguson fans tonight. But McBride, I still have faith in McBride, even though I think this week could be disappointing. Tough matchup, different quarterback. I don't think he's going to do what he did last week. Dobbs just threw the ball to him every single play. Taysom is fun. If you want fun, start Taysom. CMC and Gibbs on bye to start Ford and Singletary. It happens. Good matchup for Ford. Bad matchup for Singletary, but they can get you through. Just cross your fingers that they stumble into the end zone. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So we made it to the bottom of the chat. So we'll start to wrap up here. Make sure you guys hit the like. And if you guys are new, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Make sure to subscribe. I just dropped Pete's channel at the bottom of the chat. Make sure you guys head over to Pete's channel after the review sports and drop him a sub as well. And I guess that'll wrap it up. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Pete?
Yeah, if you want to see why I have this ridiculous facial hair, swing on over to my channel, watch my video from today, best bets. I don't choose to look like this. I maybe need to work on my gambling picks. So yeah, after review sports, got sports content throughout the week. Was a little slow this week, but normally live streams every Monday, power rankings on Tuesdays. So yeah, love doing these streams with you guys, answering all the fantasy questions, talking shop with the gang.
I thought you just shaved that way, dude.
Nope. I had to take a spin on the wheel of punishment because, it happens. But hey, it was in honor of Kirk Cousins. I got the Kirk stash, and it was fitting. At least I did that after he went down, so I was like, okay, I feel good. I felt really bad if I did it and then he got hurt.
That would have been your fault. I've been toying with the mustache lately. I never do this. It's been a weird time for me, but I have a stash right now.
Go grow it out, man.
I'm trying.
Whatever the lady wants, you give.
She likes it, so I'm like, okay.
All right.
But I feel like it's weird. But this is the most I've ever let it go. So, all right, we'll get these last two. I just made this trade: 20-team PPR, traded Ray, Rondell Moore, and Myers for DJ Moore. Rosters: Lamar, JT, Jones, Tyree Kirk, Kittle, Myers, and DJ Moore. Good trade. That's fine. Yeah.
It feels like a really good team for a 20-team league, too.
It does, actually. That team is great. I've been in a 20-team league before. You must have been trading throughout the year. Or this might be a keeper league as well. Either way, when I was in a 20-team league, it looked nothing like this. But yeah, anytime in a 20-team league you can get a wide receiver 1, you get a lot of value. So I do like Myers. I know he's been a little bit up and down lately in the quarterback change and everything. But overall, I do like this trade from a 20-team perspective. And yeah, your team does look really good. When I was in a 20-team league, my team was sad. Carr or Minshew. What's up, JD? I'll go Carr. Close. But I like Carr this week. The Bears suck. So, and Carr has not been that bad the last 3 weeks. But Minshew's okay. But I'll go Carr. 2 more questions. What do you think Demario Douglas potential looks like? I like him. We talked about that earlier in the stream. Washington secondary's been awful. If you need to throw him out there this week, that's good. We looked at the Patriots' upcoming schedule. It's pretty soft against wide receivers. Do you think Aaron Jones bounces back? No.
No. Bury him.
We hate Aaron Jones tonight. We've been hating on him all night. So I'm just going to say no. It's possible, but honestly, until we see it, I don't want to risk it in my starting lineup or your guys' starting lineup. So if you don't have better options, okay. If you do, then you're in a 20-man league. So if you have to start Aaron Jones, then that's fine. That's a little bit different. Yeah. Redraft traded for everyone, but JT, hey, I would be really happy with this team in 20-team. Yeah, you starting Aaron Jones different. You can start him. That's fine. You don't have anyone better. That's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Thank you guys for the fantasy questions. Really appreciate it. And definitely had fun talking with you guys tonight. and hopefully was able to help you guys out. I'll be back on tomorrow night. So if you guys need anything, swing by tomorrow. And we've got must start wide receivers, must start running backs, must start defenses out for the week. I think that's all the content I'll have out for the week, but maybe something else pops up. I don't know. But all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So hit the like, subscribe. Pete's channel is in the chat for you guys as well. Go over to After the Review Sports, drop Pete a subscription as well. And that's going to wrap it up for the night. So love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. And I will talk to you guys soon. Oh, with that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And